want to hear?
Lottie Ballad, second generation.
Second, okay. John Thompson.
Why?
McGinty's got him. Okay. You got to help me out.
Well, hell yeah.
I just feel a right cheap here.
Oh.
This is nae a song of love, nor yet a song of money. Faith, it's nothing very beautiful, it's nothing very funny. For there's Highland Scotch and Lowland Scotch and butterscotch and honey. If there's none of them for a, there's a mixture of the three. And there's nae a word of beef, brose, sound, sorry bonnet, nor a pancakes, peas, eggs, for them with baby stomachs. It's all about the meal and ale, it happened at Balmonics, at McGinty's meal and ale, for the pig on the spree. They were rolling in the kitchen like a caravan of pinkies, and some were playing ping pong and tiddly widdly wickies. For up the hound you never saw such jinkies as McGinty's meal and ale, for the pig on the spree. New McGinty's pipe had broken loose and won up to the lobby, where he opened shoved the pantry door and come upon the toddy. And he took kindly tear of stuff like funny human buddy at McGinty's meal and ale, for the pig on the spree. Miss McGinty, she can bend the hoose, the road was dark and crooked. She could pierce her gowdy out of the pig for it, she never look it. And she let it still it with a pair of lines to chook it at McGinty's meal and ale, for the pig on the spree. They were howling in the kitchen like a caravan of tinkies, and some were playing ping pong and tiddly widdly winkies. But up the howling you never saw such jinkies as McGinty's meal and ale, for the pig on the spree. Better stop now, boys. The gaffer's here.
Aye, hey lads.
Is he? How you
How you doing?
Thought you weren't coming. Where you been?
Couldn't miss an evening of your gentleman's entertainment now, could I?
No, you could not.
What's in the package?
All be revealed when you pour me a dram.
A dram. You've been sounding like one of us old boys. You've been telling us about you should be drinking cocktails.
Alright, thanks barman. Let me have a peruse of your extensive offerings. I'll have a Tia Maria and Lucasade with a dash of lime and a flaming sambuca on the side.
You'll be getting milk if you don't want sugar.
Milk and a scalp in the past.
Come on now, a dram's got to be earned, so tune off your first.
Come on, eh?
You got to.
Well, John, none of your fancy fast finger stuff. Nice.
Turn your hearing aid up, all you might catch what you're not playing.
So, come on then. What's in the puke?
Lives.
Lives.
Aye, lives and deaths. Well, lives and memories, I suppose. It's a bit of a long story, but my dad dropped this round to me the other week. He'd been sent it by some publisher somewhere. Apparently a guy called Jock Duncan, you know the
Singer.
he spent years interviewing veterans of the First World War. He managed to interview 60 of them, I think, mainly from around the northeast, you know. And he sat typing it all up into this.
So how come they sent it to your dad?
Well, because one of the men interviewed was my great-grandfather. He managed to trace my dad somehow and wanted to let him know it's been published. Thought you lads might be interested since you're all from up there somewhere, are you not?
Well, close enough.
Dundee. East Coast.
The Middle East.
Middle East. The thing is, he's done it in dialect, right? And I can get most of it, but some of it's just defeating me, you know. My Scots accent's not quite up to scratch, as it were. But I thought maybe you boys could read some out and might get a feel for what the boys would have sounded like.
But, which one was your great granddad? Which one was he?
Alvin Hardy, Bath, enlisted, Aberdeen, age 16, 7th Gordon's 51st Division. Promoted to sergeant on the Somme by his major, who drew 3 stripes on the arm of his tunic with a blue pencil. Awarded military medal and wounded 4 times. Posted missing, presumed killed after the great German push of the 21st of March 1918. Family informed. But survived and took part in the second man with the 51st near Reims.
Why? Here he is, Alex McHardy, 7th Gordons. He says, when we marched to join the Battle of the Somme, it took 21 days. We fell out for 10 minutes every hour and stop at Annicht, of course, sleeping just far we could. And the cookhouse boilers keep it hot the time ready to dish out the stew when the time came, and by God, we were ready, I can tell you. The boilers like the tareens that the roadmen kept, you can't find. Well, that was the worst thing they ever did to us. Your feet never cured for a great file, I can tell you. A great file.
Good file.
A good while.
It sounds like it was a bit of character, is that it?
Aye. Read on, you've not heard the half of it yet.
Well, we're getting ready to attack Beaumont Hamelin. Major Mullen come up on horseback and he shouts, "Hey you!" and points at me. I thought, holy God, fit if I didn't wrong now. Some of the lads said,
They're going to shoot you, man.
anyway, out I gangs and salutes, and Major Mullen, he says to me,
McHardy, you've been a considerable time out here and seen quite a lot of action. Have you got a pencil by any chance?
I says, a pencil? Far would I get a pencil? That the adjutant produced a blue one, so Major Mullen never come off his horse, he just rocks down and draws 3 stripes in my arm. Now he says,
From now on, you're the sergeant of this platoon.
now I never really taken this carry on seriously. A week after we had to parade and the sergeant major picked me as right marker. Up comes Major Mullen horseback to take the inspection. Ince he spots me and he furls about on his horse and he shouts at me.
McHardy, what are you doing in the ranks?
I says, "Marker, sir." He says,
Marker my arse.
he then cries to the sergeant major to take my lad out the tailors and wait until I had my right sergeant stripes sewn on. He then says to me,
I've never had a man refuse an order before.
"Well, the sergeant major, I kept him fine. He belonged to Inch." He speared for happened at me, so I tell him he'd a good laugh and said,
But it's a wonder you was the chauffeur doing that.
"The old wheel, I was just a loon kid."
Aye. He was just a loon right enough, a sergeant at 16.
There was this here, Jimmy Scott. He was for 50 and 5, the Royal Engineers he was in. And he says, it was funny man the way I joined up. He says, I was in Methlick Saturday night and met in with my old pal Willie Webster for the Giners there. And we landed up in Cobbett Smith's, a grocer that sell porter ale, the dark ale. And we both had a bottle out of Forty-Twa, and we're thinking we were Guy Cheers and capering about in the street, making a bit of a din. And the minister come walking by. Well, on the Sunday he preached a sermon about the degrading exhibition in Twa was had put up, finishing up saying we'd be better employed in the army fighting for king and country than making fools of ourselves with strong drink.
Aye.
Well, the Travis didn't ken if we was worthy of a sermon in that after ourselves. Maybe he's felt a wee bit honoured. But we took him at his word and hired the hotel man for the Temperance Hotel to take us into the Toon Aberdeen to join up. And Willie got into the Army Service Corps and I joined the Royal Engineers.
They were shamed
Aye.
into joining up.
Quite. Yeah.
Thanks, well. Here's the boy Fergus, Wathy Heartland, Frank McFarlane, Forfa, first Black Watch. I joined up in 1912 on the 20th of February. I was 17-year-old and 5 feet 9 inches tall. I seen a forfer lad that was a trooper in the lifeguards, and I thought I'd like to be in them because he was very smart in his uniform. He was tall and handsome and broad. So then I gave to the recruiting office and said I needed to join the lifeguards. The recruiting sergeant said,
You can't join that here. You'd have to go to London for that.
I signed him up on the wall as a placard or a Gardiner Highlander. So I points to him and says, what about them then?
You can't join that either. You'd have to go to Aberdeen.
Well, what can I join then?
Black Watch, of course. I'll join you up right away.
So that was me, Jake.
Black Watch, 42nd Regiment.
The famous Forty-Twa.
Behold, I am a soldier bold. I'm only 25 years old. A braver warrior never was seen, from John O'Groats to Gretna Green. When I was young, my father said he'd put me to a decent trade, but I didn't like that job at all. So I went and I joined the Forty-Twa.
Oh, the wind may blow and the cocks may crow,
The rain may rain and the snow may snow, but you winna frickin' Jock McGraw. The sweetest chiel in the Forty-Twa.
Well, at your last fete across the sea, the General he sent after me, and when I get there with my big gun, you ken the battle soon was won. For the enemy are in awa, they were feared to the legs o' Jock McGraw. For a man like me, say tall and neat, you ken yourself could never be beat. But the wind may blow and the cock may craw, the rain may rain and the snow may snow, but you winna frickin' Jock McGraw, the sweetest chiel in the Forty-Twa.
King then held a grand review, the numbered 1,062. The Kelty lads come marching past, and big McGraw came marching last. The royal party grabbed their sticks, and all began to stretch their necks. Cries the king to the colonel,
Upon my soul, I took that man for a telegraph pole.
May blow and the cock may crow, the rain may rain and the snow may snow, but you winna frickin' Jock McGraw. The sweetest chiel in the Forty-Twa. The wind may blow and the cock may crow, the rain may rain and the snow may snow, but you winna frickin' Jock McGraw. The sweetest chiel in the Forty-Twa.
Read that around there. We pop up there if you would.
Right. Page 46, have a print of that, boys. Chapter on Gallipoli. You see, I mind doing that in school, but I thought it was just the Australians and the New Zealanders that fought there.
Aye, the Anzacs, aye, they were there, sure. You get there was plenty of Jocks there as well, you know.
87th Brigade, 1st King's Own Scottish Borderers!
88th Brigade, 5th Royal Scots!
52nd Lowland Division, 155 Brigade, 4th Royal Scots Fusiliers.
5th Royal Scots Fusiliers!
4th King's Own Scottish Borderers!
5th King's Own Scottish Borderers!
156 Brigade, 4th Royal Scots.
7th Royal Scots!
7th Scottish Rifles!
8th Scottish Rifles!
157 Brigade, 5th Highland Light Infantry.
6th Highland Light Infantry!
7th Highland Light Infantry!
5th Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders!
2nd Mounted Division, 1st Scottish Horse.
2nd Scottish Horse!
3rd Scottish Horse! Right, I'm going to have a try this accent you boys are putting on
Well,
here.
the door, aye.
Come on then.
John Smith, Royal Field Artillery, 29th Division.
That's good so far.
Aye, thank you. The ship we gied out to Egypt with was called the Kinstonia. Aye, I mind that. And you had to whack the beasts about on for exercise. We disembarked at Alexandria and into camp. There we waited for the New Zealanders and the Australians to come from their own countries. When that happened, we gied to our same ships and sailed for Lindus. A whole fleet of them congregated there, with a load of battleships and all. And on the 24th of April 1915, we set sail for the shores of Gallipoli. I mind it was an awful fine night.
Passable.
Yes, that one. The Australians were far north than us, but later on some of them came into their side and attacked at Suvla Bay along with some more British troops. But they didn't get very far there either. The sick and wounded were taken out in lighters at night to hospital ships, but the majority coming off for dysentery cases the most of the time.
Mine turn me right. Here's my door, my button. Aye, the Turks had a nasty habit of firing the rifles up in the air and the spent bullets come straight down on top of us. In fact, we lost a lot of folk that way.
An officer come by when we were standing with a big Australian. We all saluted him, but the Australian didn't. The officer stopped and got onto him for nae saluting. The Australian just looked at him and said,
We know we are Australian accent.
Aye.
Just master the Scottish one.
the Australian just looked at him and said,
Make way for a real soldier, sonny!
Yeah, that puts me in mind of a wee tune, see if you can listen.
It's a jolly swag man camped by a billabong, and alow the shade o' a coolabah tree, and he sang as he watched and he waited till his belly boiled. Welcome a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, oh come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he watched and he waited till his belly boiled. Who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me?
When I was a young man, I carried my pack and I lived a free life of a rover. From the Murray's green basin to the dusty outback, I waltzed my Matilda all over. But then, in 1915, my country said, son, it's time to stop rambling, there's work to be done. And they gave me a tin hat, and they gave me a gun, and they sent me away to the war. And the band
played Waltzing Matilda.
as the ship sailed away from the quay. And amidst all the cheers and the flag waving and the tears, they set sail for Gallipoli.
And how well I remember that terrible day. Our blood stained the sand and the water. And of how in the hell at the cod Sud La Bay we were butchered like lambs at the slaughter. Johnny Tuck, he was ready. He'd primed himself well. He shouted us with bullets and he rained us with shell. 5 minutes flat, he'd blown us out of hell. Nearly blew us right back to Australia. And the band
played Waltzing Matilda.
as we stopped to bury our slain. We buried ours and the Tucks, they buried theirs. And we started all over again.
Those who were living just tried to survive in that grim world of death, blood and fire. For 10 weary weeks I kept myself alive, as around me the corpses piled higher. Then a great Turkish shell blew me arse overhead, and when I woke in my hospital bed I saw what it had done. Christ, I wished I was dead. I never knew there were worse things than dying. For no more would go waltzing Matilda across the green bush far and free. For to humph tent and pegs a man needs both legs. No more waltzing Matilda for me.
So they gathered the crippled, the wounded, the maimed, and they shipped us back home to Australia. The legless, the armless, the blind, the insane, all those brave wounded heroes of Suvla. And as our ship pulled into Circular Quay, and I looked at the place where my legs used to be, I thanked Christ there was no one there waiting for me to grieve, to mourn, or to pity. And the band played Waltzing Matilda as they carried us down the gangway. Nobody cheered, they just stood and stared, and they all turned their faces away.
And now every April I sit on my porch and watch the parades pass before me, and I see my old comrades, how proudly the march, living their dreams and their past glory.
The old men march slowly, all bowing stiff and sore. They're tired old heroes from forgotten war. And the young folk ask,
What are they marching for?
and ask myself the same question. And the
Band plays Waltzing Matilda, as the old men still answer the call.
But year after year their numbers grow fewer.
And one day, no one will march there at all.
Waltzing Matilda, Waltzing Matilda, who'll come waltzing Matilda with me? And their ghosts may be heard as you pass by that billabong. Who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me?
That's the amazing stuff you've got here.
Oh,
Here's Alec again, look.
what page is it?
9.
9 pages.
When the German push started on 21st of March 1918, I was at the cook who seen to the rations. It was midday and the cook, he come for Bucky, said that the dinner would be ready in another half hour or so. So I started a while back. I'd left Corporal Duncan in charge from the bar. I started, by God it was bad. I just couldn't get forward to my company for as long as the shelling going on. Finished slacking a bit, I managed to reach your trenches, or if it was left of them, to see that they were deserted. Your men must have pulled back when the barrage started. This left me on my own, so I come right back, but lost my way in the hellish shelling, and I landed up with the French that had been on their flank. I fought and retreated with them for a couple of days, and then came on an English battalion. I speared at an officer if he kent for the 51st Wes, and he said that he did, and if I cared to wait 2 days I would get back with a wagon that was gone down their way. As I kind of got back to them, and I discovered that I'd been posted missing, believed killed, and my folk had gotten word to that effect too. But then you see, I was out of course to kill. Alec McCarthy, 7th Gordon Highway.
Great granddad told us 2 course to kill.
2 course to kill.
Oh, that's smashing.
Right, turn to page 47.
47.
It's a section that's right up your street.
My street.
Aye, your street.
Ah, pipers. How you talking? Our pipers played us on the march and even put to the line when we get back a bit. On a long march, our heats was up and we were swinging a wall fine, but when they stopped at playing, we just slouched down and wrecked the wall, fair tired out. The pipes brought you to life, Ken. Aye, Christ it help it. Peter Bakery, 7th Cameron Highlanders.
Listen to this. Our pipers were up the line with us most of the time, and I've seen in many a time playing us into the attack. They volunteered to gang, you see. Aye. That was James Wolfe at Courtburn, 5th Gordons.
I also knew Pipe Major Willie McLean of the Camerons and Pipe Major John McCall. I also met Willie Centre and John MacDonald of Inverness after the war. Piper Donald MacLeod, 4th Black Watch.
The most of the 2nd Gordon's pipers were killed at Lewes, my brother Robin among them. Colonel Stansfield and him were hit with the same shell. Robin was a regular at Kennan, and was sergeant at the time. Piper Davy Stewart, New Deer, 2nd Gordons.
Our pipe major was John MacLennan, a great player and character. I started lessons with him in the army on a chanter, and when he came to compete at the band games, I used to meet him off the train and met for him to the games. Sergeant Alec Meldon in the 1st Gordons.
In September 1917, at the 3rd Battle of Wipers, we piped our companies into battle, but we didn't get very far. There the mud became an enemy when the rains came. Among the pipers I met some great characters in the various regiments. One of the greatest was Pipe Major Willie Lawrie of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders. He was a fantastic player and composer. Sadly, he took that terrible killing flu just when the war ended and died. Sad loss to piping. He and my father were great friends. It's Piper MacLeod again, 4th Black Watch. Wow, what a famous names in there, boys. Willie, Lawrie, Ballaghulish, never made it back. His pipes made it back. they're in the Argyll's Museum, Stirling Castle. But and he composed, well, the most famous tune of the lot from the First World War. I bet there's not a piper in the world doesn't know the Battle of the Somme. Geordie MacLennan. Great GS MacLennan, one of the finest pipers ever. Any generation. What a composer too.
That's like a tutorial here.
That's amazing. Amazing collection.
Right then, Olgin, your turn to end your dram.
Olgin?
Let's see. Let's see if all pipers know the Battle of the Somme then. Eh?
Most pipers in the world.
Then what about a tune from it? What's his name? GS?
Geordie?
Aye.
George Stewart MacLennan. Okay, well, spoilt for choice for him. I'll think of something by the time we get there.
You look like a secret window over there.
You pouring the dram?
Anything else to do?
Here we go. Page 30. This is Horses.
Ah,
Let's make up yours. Right, let's see. The army come round the ferns and commandeered all the horses that they fancied. I mind, when they came to the 5 kirk on Sunday service, took all the good shalts that was there that day. Of course, there was plenty of shalts and gigs, that's all there was at the time, you ken. Says Private Dode Carl off the 5 machine gun cord. What's a shalt?
a horse.
Just a horse.
Well, it's
A wee one.
A wee one. Aye, so whereas most of the horses are probably like Clydesdale horses, but this was more the kind of horse that you would. Well, that's been on a horse, that. Like if you were, like for for hurling people about rather than grain and that.
This'll be the horse tutorial.
Turn on your recording equipment.
So they went to the kirk with their horse and caps. They came out and there was only caps.
Well, here's no rain. One of Gordon's actually. I got a letter for him saying that my good pair of horses are rocked before I could walk had been commandeered by the army. I could just near hae grutting when I'd read that. In the letter my mother spared if I'd look out for them, but there wasn't much chance of that. John Rennie, Balmelly Farm, 5th Gordons.
An old donkey was our mascot for a long time. I used to gang in front of us when we were on the march. Man, it was recht cute. It kent when the shells was coming closer, nay. He stood up and listened, and his legs shook back and forth. If he stood his ground, so did we, but if he made a breenge off the road, then we did enough. Well, in the end, he made a mistake. Got killed, poor brute. We missed him, because we'd had him a long time, you ken. Oh, aye. Alec McHardy,
Yeah,
7th Gardens.
When the mules came up to the front, they walked very cautiously, but going back, they put back their ears and ran like hell. Sergeant Alec Meldrum, Whitehills, 8th Gordons.
They weren't that.
Here he is. I had a name for our horse. I was in that car Dick was struck on the Somme with a bit of shrapnel. They could impel his mane at the side and come out the other. But he came out if you can. Oh, we lost an half a horse. Bert Gow, New Deer, Royal Field Artillery.
I was in the guard of honour to Lord Robert's funeral ceremony, and by God, the French had the finest horses I ever saw. They were like what you see in the fight horse fusky bottles. Small headies, small leggies, and long neckies, just the royalty of shirts. Jimmy Reid, offered 6 Gordons.
Who was jealous of the French horsemen.
Yeah, here's a good one here, boys, right? Alec Pratt was my sergeant. He was a great character and a hard man. He knew all the ropes, being an old regular. I mind in France he came round inspecting the horse lines, and we were on parade standing by our horses in the early morning parade. Away down the line I heard Pratt say, "What the hell are you grovelling there, making such a damn noise?" I heard the poor fellow say, "The horse kicked me, Sergeant." Sergeant Pratt snaps back, "Well, get the hell on your feet and kick the bastard back."
Gallipoli again, boys. The winter weather took an awful toll of the poor horses, and in the end we were only left with 8 still living on the day of departure. The craters got their last task of pulling our guns down to the beaches, and then they were slaughtered, shot dead. What was the reward the poor things got for lasting through all their time with us, through shell fire and shot at Gallipoli for 9 months? Shot dead. John Smith, Royal Field Artillery, 29th Division.
Have I worked on farms and fae the start? The muckle horses won my hand, with big broad backs they'll proudly stand, the uncrowned kings of all the land. And yet for all their power and strength, they're as gentle as the summer's wind. So stay, boys, walk on, their work is nearly done. No more will toil plough the fields, the horse's day is gone, and this will be your last trip home, so steady, boys, walk on. You've heard men sing their songs of praise of Arab stallions in a race, hunters wha fly wi' the hounds to chase the fox and run 'em down. But none of them compares, I vow, to the working pair that pulls the plough. So steady, boys, walk on, the work is nearly done. No more we'll till the plough the fields, the horse's day is gone, and this will be your last trip home, so steady, boys, walk on. The road to see us one last time, for none of them would want to miss the chance to see us pass like this. They'll say the song in years to come, the muckle horse's last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on, the work is nearly done. No more we'll till the plough the fields, the horse's day is gone, and this will be the last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on, the work is nearly done. No more we'll till the plough the fields, the horse's day is gone, and this will be your last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on. We get out the top at Pitlochry. I was on a 3-man machine gun team. My pal Gardiner got wounded and gave a wah back. Shortly after that, the other lad got it in the heat and gave fair daft, so that was me left in my aim. I was looking for somebody to mark our team when I came on a Jerry hanging in the bar at Weir with both his arms blown off. I got ahead of the lad to give him a hand and we got the poor lad off and away with the stretcher bearers. It's a funny thing. The Jerry I had on their big jackets summer and winter when they were in action. Jimmy Millen, Rose Hardy, second quarters.
At the Battle of Third Wipers, we get over at the top, and a lad who comes was with me, but he fell down dead before we got very far. Well, another lad and me at each seemed to be on rain. We're getting farther for it in the lake, you see. The 2 Germans raised up and gave themselves up. And the us just sat down in a shell hole and had a news as best we could. Albert and Conan, to our 5th Gordons.
When we got out first at Mont St Elian in 1914 aside anchor, there was only 3 graves in the kirkyard. They were airmen. When we come back again the next year, I'll swear there was 6 acre of graves. Jimmy Reid, Afford, 6 Gordons.
Had the cousin in the Gordons blown to pieces? When I was home on leave, I went up to see his mother in New Deer to offer my condolences. She showed me a photograph of his grave. I didn't say anything. That's what made me sad for the mothers. None of the dead were buried in real grave, but just on the battlefield. Alec Robertson, Kernori, 5th Gordons.
Echtius were sent to the Machine Gun Corps for the Gordons to train down in England. Hardly only come back. The lads from my area were Willie Horn for Turrick, he was killed. Jimmy Cow for Riney and a lad Harper for Rothy were wounded, and I didn't think cured at Richt indeed after the war. There was 7 Willies in the class at Woodhead Scale, including my own brother. Well, you can. None of them come home for it. Dodgarrow, Galahill, Gicht.
I only stayed 3 days without killed. We were out on a raid and attacked prisoners, and Jerry had Kent was on the go and opened up on us with machine guns. So I made a breach for cover and got stuck fast on the barbed wire. I'll have to get out there quick, so I just loused off the kilt. You Ken, I had to wait till one of our lads was killed before I got another one. Sergeant Alec McHardy. Band 7th Gordons.
This is an interesting one. In 1914 we came out to meet the Germans in no man's land on Christmas Day. We got on great and swapped presents and fags and that. I gave a lad a tin of McConaughey's and he gave me a brown loaf, but I didn't care for it. Both sides took the opportunity to collect all the dead bodies and bury them. My, that was certainly no picnic. Some were just bits and had to be collected into bags, and the stink beat hell. Willie Reid, Afford, 6th Gordons.
When we attacked at Highwood on the Somme, the German weir was a hail. The barbed wire was unbroken. We were losing an half a men. I flap it and keep it my head down. There was another lad at my side. He raised up to get a perk at them. I says, tell him, dinna do that, keep your hood down and at the ground. But nah, he raised up, shot off a round. No more. That was him. Finished. Now, after the war, I was doing a bit of courting with a lassie that's now my wife. 8 times she showed me the photograph of her brother that was killed in the war. I says, I ken far about this lad was killed. He was lying beside me at Highwood. John Rennie, Balmelly Farm, Tara, 5th Gordons.
I think we've got homes again, Tom. Let's get another wee dram for the road, eh? Two fingers there.
I'm going to blow. I'll look easy sleeping after that. Amazing stuff.
It's a very precious book you've got there,
Yes.
so thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you for reading out the stories, get a feel what the boys would have sounded like.
Well, it's been nice getting to know your great granddad a wee bit. I think I know where you get your gala streak from.
I might try going 3 days without a kilt, see if it fits me.
No. Gentlemen, a toast.
Toast.
Sergeant Alec McHardy, Banff, MM, 7th Gordon Highlanders, 51st Division. Alec McHardy.
It would have been nice to meet him, right enough. But, do you know what's just struck me? These boys in here, what makes them stand out?
Right.
Well, they all came home. Every last one of these boys survived.
Enough, I came back and shared the stories, sure.
Most men like I've never shared their stories with anyone, I think.
Well, take a guy, special man, to get them to do that, eh? Mr. Jock, Duncan.
It's so great, lads. Ik denk je zo'n galles, broedseer, here's McCartney, what a lad. What a lad to record he was. He was a big hardy boy. They made him sergeant at 16. Again, it was his name when he joined up. 16. They made him sergeant because the CO says, "Send that boy over here." McCartney says, "You're coming out our drunks with your pencil." Could you do your pencil? And he got a colour pencil or something, he wrote this 3. Next week he come back and McCartney was still on the rocks. He didn't think we deserted it. Took that man out of there, he says,
Put the 3 stripes.
"I feel it."
Aye.
Morning, lads. Another toast to Jock, Duncan, collector of stories.
Jock, Duncan.
And to all his lads, the lads that came home and, well, the lads who didn't, the Jocks.
Jocks.
Jocks.